Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, part of the Furniture with me, Daniel. It's season 17, episode 4, and today we continue our group of death in the Champions League as we head to Inter Milan in the fourth game of the group. They're managed by Alex Neil, remarkably, the current Preston manager in real life, so he's certainly made a good career for himself, and I'm sure his side will test us today. You can see that things are going pretty well across the board. Alex Andrade into double figures already, eclipsing the total he managed in the whole of last season, despite it only being November. Our new big money centre-half's got the best average rating at the club, and Diogo Sousa's still doing well, with Baccanes dominating midfield. We have started to concede a few more goals this season though, and that is something concerning. 12 already in 12 Premier League games. We only conceded 14 in the entirety of last year, so that really is a bit of a worry, although we are scoring a few more than previously. And interestingly, the only changes we've made tactically are to go slightly more defensive, and although it's given us more of a goal threat, it's actually making us worse at the back. So it's probably having the exact opposite effect you would expect, and maybe that's something we'll talk about later down the line, and maybe even do a special on tactics, because people always assume if you move your fullbacks and wingers to be more attacking, it will lead to a better attacking team and a worse defensive team. But it's not always the case actually, and we made the changes we did this year, which seem more conservative, just to go to a more attacking style. But back to today, apologies again for the voice, it's not quite recovered yet, but we're still going along alright, and we're looking forward to this Champions League clash. We're up in the top 4 of the Premier League, but we're already 10 points behind Arsenal, and 9 behind Chelsea after that. So I've got to be honest, I don't think defending the title's realistic this year. We're going to have to focus on the FA Cup and probably the Champions League too. We've built this club up slowly for so many years, and now we've got to try and compete for the biggest one against the likes of Inter. We've got a couple of players out injured today. Andrade was in brilliant form but now has picked up a knock and he's going to miss a few weeks, and Omar in central midfield as well, so 2 of our key players not available for selection. That will affect our form in both the Premier League and the Champions League, as Sheffield United are still up there with the top 6, so we've really got to make sure we get in the Champions League next season, as if we don't manage to win it this year, if we're not in the competition, it's going to be a disaster. But before we get into the game, we obviously want to look at our recent results. Just to let you know off the pitch, our finances are gradually improving, up to 68 million now with those other sales in the last episode, and it is creeping up with our Champions League prize money, as you obviously get 2.5 million for every game you win, and we're also getting plenty of TV revenue. But let's go and have a look at our schedule, see what's been happening since the last episode. We did also get a sell-on fee for Alvaro Gonzalez, ironically, about £2 or £3 million, not a huge amount, but it just meant that it's worth adding those clauses in, as we've made more money off so many players. But let's go and have a look at our results. You were obviously with me for the Chelsea game, and then you were with me for that trip to Barcelona, where we produced one of the most brilliant results, a fantastic performance as well, and Omar tucking away 2 penalties in a thoroughly professional away Champions League performance. And we followed it up with some bizarre games, some poor defending in the last couple as well, and we go into this one on the back of 2 defeats, something that's a little bit concerning. But we won 3-0 away at West Brom, Omar, Silla and Lappin with the goals. It was a tight 1-0 game for the most part, but Silla and Lappin put gloss on it at the end. Then away to Liverpool we drew 3-3, Alex Andrade with a brace and Sousa got one, but look what happened in stoppage time. 2 goals for Liverpool from 3-1, as we horrendously struggled to hold on to a victory. But then at home to Inter, today's opponents, a 5-0 victory, and that looks remarkable on paper, but what do you think's the other remarkable thing? Alex Andrade scored all 5 goals, a fantastic solo performance, although unfortunately just after he got that momentum, he then went and picked up an injury. Then at home to Spurs in the Premier League, a 1-1 draw with Nsingi getting the goal. Nozov equalised after the break for Spurs, and in truth they probably had the better of it from that point. We ended up having to hold on. Then exactly the same fixture 4 days later, this time in the Carabao Cup. We had a completely reserved side out, 1 early goal and 1 very late one, the second coming as we desperately chased the game. Then away to Arsenal, yet more disappointment, a 3-2 defeat this time. Pedro Cura with an own goal, the summer signing, in between Diego Fletcher's brace. That was after we got the lead with Alex Andrade, who then picked up his training knock just after, and and Singi the new signing with yet another goal, but it turned out to just be a consolation. So we go away to Inter today for our 8th successive TV game, in all competitions of course, and we've got a couple of those key players out as we mentioned, so it is going to be a pretty tough one, but of course our focus on it will be high, as it's one of only 2 of the 6 competitions we haven't won yet in this series that we outlined at the start of the year. Of course this one will lead to us getting another chance at the other, which is the European Super Cup final, but with 9 points out of 9 in the group stages, it does look like we're going to get through now. A result against either Inter or Barca will pretty much wrap it up, and if we manage to beat Austria Vienna next time and the other 2 go and draw, then we could well get through anyway without having to win another game against them. But it would be nice to get it out the way on our own terms, so we could focus on the league in our last 2 group stage matches. At the moment we've been rotating our squad for the Premier League games just so we've got everyone fit for the Champions League, but I don't really want to have to do that, as you know we're in a fight to get in the top 4 now. So let's go and get into this game today. We've obviously got the FA Cup we can focus on too. I know we've won it once before, but we didn't win it in our Journeyman series in FM19, and it is my favourite competition. I make no attempt to hide that, so we certainly want to compete for it. We don't just want to win each trophy once. If we get a chance to get a 2nd or 3rd, we'll build Torquay a massive legacy. So there's a couple of early kickoffs today in the Champions League, featuring one of the English side Spurs as well. So we'll go and skip through those games quickly, and we'll be back in a moment to show you the lineup for our big trip to Inter Milan. So there's confirmation for the fitness test. Darren Palmer not available for selection. Obviously an issue with Andrade out as well. And our backup keeper McMahon's just back from a knock, but he's not fit enough to get in the squad yet. 2 bore draws in the Champions League early kickoffs. Juve held by Besiktas, and Tottenham going to Anderlecht and getting a ball 0-0 draw. So let's go and get into the match. Alex Neil's side are not the favourites for this match remarkably, although I guess how could they be after a 5-0 defeat in the reverse fixture? They are in decent form though, 4 points in the other 2 games, and we've lost our last 2 in the Carabao Cup against Spurs, and obviously that Premier League game against Arsenal. 77,000 at the Giuseppe Meazza, so let's go and see the 11 we've picked today. It's pretty much as strong as we can be. We've got Stojanovic in goal as the sweeper keeper, Cura and Moraes are the fullbacks, and Singi's alongside McDonnell in the middle, and he's already become our best player on paper, and Singi has been a wonderful signing, and he's continuing to improve as a centre-half. At 21 he's now marked an elite centre-back, and he's starting to look like a bit of a bargain. In the holding role we've got Gerben Bacanes, who continues to perform strongly, and Kate has been joined in the middle by Kante, something that was a bit of a selection dilemma. It was between him and Lapin, who's been in good form this season, but he doesn't suit that role as well, and I don't want to have to move too many players around. We've brought Sousa in on the right for Yaladian, who is doing well but is struggling for fitness slightly. His condition down to 92%, so we've just gone and put him on the bench. And then the same on the other side as well. Silla was down to 93, so we've bought Daniel Kozolin, who's got high morale, and he's also a natural striker, so if Rutherford does get injured or sent off, we've got another striker we can put up there. And Silla's still on the bench if we need a left winger, so it's certainly not a disaster at this stage. Then Rutherford, as we mentioned, is on his own up front, so a pretty weak front three in terms of star rating, and maybe that's something we've got to look at next summer, probably the area we're weakest with our backup side. The likes of Silla and Yaladian on the bench, with Lapin and Raphael the midfielders, and then Quirk, Zatinho and Hull 3 defenders, as we obviously haven't got a backup striker. Stuart John is in the 18s, and I did think about it in truth, but unfortunately he played in a Champions League game, so he's not available for selection today. That's why we haven't got a backup striker on the bench, and the same goes for the other youngster Brown, who was in our youth intake last season. So we're going to get into this match today. The only 2 fit players not in the squad, Mon Everson the 4th choice centre half, and Ray Probert the young central midfielder. We're going to stick with our positive mentality for now, and our slightly new adapted tactic, supporting fullbacks, no higher tempo, and hopefully it'll pay dividends in Italy. It worked in a home game, so we'll take the same again, but I'm sure Inter will want to react for their fans. Okay, a 4-2-3-1 for Inter Milan, a side that feature Passato at right back, a player we were linked with many years ago, and obviously have been scouting for some time. He's now no longer good enough to play for the club, but at least it's a familiar face in the lineup. I'm not sure he played in the first game, most of the others are recognisable from that, so let's just go and give the team talk and hope that the lads put in a similar performance. We've encouraged them just as Stuart Jelling recommends. We could be qualifying for the knockout round. If we win today, no one can stop us, though of course that's easier said than done. Omar's out and we've looked good in training. We're not going to say he's our best player and we'll struggle without him. It's certainly probably not the case now, as Nsingi may have overtaken him. But it's out to Zanoli on the right for Inter. Moraes intercepts back to the keeper. And a comfortable start as we deal with the first highlight. Though we're back with Bassato on the right now. Omaruo in for the second. Here's the post. Stojanovic nearly beaten on his near side. That was really poor defending and goalkeeping. But we get away with it in the end. And it remains 0-0 at Inter. Barcelona have got the lead in the other game already. We probably expected nothing less. And we're now back with our first chance. Keita coming forward on the right. A misplaced pass, but it falls back to him. Sousa on the edge with a shot. Brilliant save by the Inter keeper. And it falls for Kozol on the left. He delivers towards Rutherford, but apparently he's fouled his man. And it's going to be a free kick for the home side. And I'm sure they'll take it short here. To Scotty, the centre half on the right side. Tries to switch it across goal. Always a risky manoeuvre, but they seem to be playing it out quite nicely. They've drawn us out here on the right side. Brock coming forward on their left. And he cuts it inside to Zanoli. Brilliant ball through. Moraes jumped, but he couldn't quite get there. And in the end it's saved and then wide at a post. Just over half an hour gone, and Singy with a free kick on the halfway line. Out to Sousa on the right, who crosses. Kozol's free, and it's a great header. It beats the keeper by going back across goal, but it hits the woodwork and comes back out, and the keeper grabs it at the second attempt. Cura gets the ball in long from a throw-in, and Singy flicks it on, but it's straight into the keeper's arms, and Inter can counter again. It's a long ball downfield, but it only finds Cura. The right back brings it down. He finds McDonnell, who plays along the back, and Singy, who just made his way back from the throw-in. Stojanovic in goal as we start again. Out to Moraes at left back. Got plenty of room to move it forward here, and it goes into Kante in midfield. Kozol picks it up on the left and switches it. Keita now gets it wider to Sousa. Kante with a through ball to Kozol. Edge of the box with a shot, but it's blocked by Bassato. Brilliant defensive work, and he's out for a corner on our right hand side. Sousa will take it and outswinger. Into the box is a dangerous ball. Omaruo just beats McDonnell to it, and he's hacked away for a throw by Inter. No more highlights, so that brings up the half-time whistle. We're going to tell the lads to go out there and win the game. Tell them to grab the goal they deserve. We really want to encourage the lads. Stuart Jelling's in complete agreement, but the reaction wasn't too positive. Listening keenly is normally a pretty average one, as Keita switches it to Kozol on the left. It's just over hit and he can only head it for a throw, and with 30 seconds gone it's an Inter throw-in. Bassato down the line to Zanoli. Brilliant challenge from Moraes to win it back though. Given away again, but Baccanes is straight on it, and Kozol gets it into Kante. Now Keita 25 yards out, goes for a thunderous effort, but it's just high and wide from the midfielder, and with 5 gone in the second half it remains goalless. Barcelona have doubled their lead in the other game, but at the moment we're struggling to make the breakthrough. It's Sousa with a throw-in, we've scored the goal! It's a classic set-piece routine. Ball to the back post from Sousa, and Singy knocks it down, and Rutherford poaching from 4 or 5 yards, smashes it or bundles it into the net, whichever term you prefer to use. And Singy now from a long throw to Sousa. He's been fouled and it's a penalty, and we've got a replica of the Barcelona game. Kozol the best penalty taker on the pitch in Omar's absence, so let's see if he can put it in. Just 2 or 3 minutes after our first goal, we could double our lead, but Kozol's penalty's been saved. Brilliant goalkeeping, it was in the corner. The only thing you might say is it was a nice height, but Sousa delivers the set piece. Kante back into danger, the keeper claims, and he has kept his side in this Champions League match. 20 to go and we've got a throw-in on the left. Moraes and Baccanes play a 1-2. It's been a thoroughly professional performance from the lads, but missing that penalty has really caused trouble, as a 1-goal lead is never enough. We did mention at the start of this episode our defensive record's got worse this year, so it's something we really need to be careful of to make sure we're solid at the back. We need another Barcelona-style performance, maybe a second penalty which we score. Sousa into Kozol. Oh, he's made amends there. What a finish from Daniel Kozol. Kozul. Sousa with a lovely through ball, just in behind the fullback. Kozul beat Basato to it, knew he needed to hit it first time. It was a fantastic volley on his left foot, and it went cross the goalkeeper into the top corner, and we now lead 2-0, and are looking to make a substitution or two. One of them's going to be Maddie Keita, Dimitri lapping on for him. He'll go in the Mazzala role, alongside Kante, the fellow backup midfielder. As it stands, we'll be going through tonight, but if Inter score, that will change again. We won't win the group with Barcelona winning, but we'll only be a winner against Vienna away. Is Brock 30 yards out for Ballerini, as Inter are starting to build pressure again. They're obviously pushing forward more now. Zanoli 25 yards out to Brock. He hits the woodwork and it's cleared, and Singi out for a throw-in as Basato's been taken off. 10 minutes left and Sousa's rating hasn't changed, but we're just about to see the start of a highlight, and my superstition will continue there. Bilbao into the box and Singi clears, flicked away as far as Kante, and it's up to Rutherford. Can we counter now as he gets it to Kozul on the left? An overlapping man, but he switches it instead. Sousa into Kozul, brilliant save by the keeper, and it's now a last-ditch challenge, which puts it behind for a corner. We'll try and make the changes before the set piece. Raphael on for Dataya Bacanes, and we're going to take Cura off for Quirk now, as the right winger Sousa's ratings improved. Apart from Kante, they're all the ones with a 7 and below, and Richard Quirk, the homegrown player, gets another chance in a big European match. Sousa to the back post to Nsingi, wins the header yet again, but this time it's over the bar, and unfortunately it'll be a goal kick. Bilbao with a poor ball though, the awful pass out from the keeper. Bilbao's touch was horrendous. Sousa poached in and got in one-on-one, but the keeper redeemed himself with a good save. Sousa to the back post and Singi wins it again, but it's over the bar, and it remains 2-0 with 7 minutes left. Inter go for the long kick this time, not making the same mistake at the back. Headed away being Singi, but it's back to Inter Milan. Zanoli's in on the left-hand side. Brilliant strike from our left. He scores the right winger, got in behind Bruno Moraes, and Inter have a lifeline in this game as we drop to a balanced mentality. And Singi gets the ball to Raphael. Now McDonald up to Kante. Over to Kozul on the left on halfway as the voice is just starting to crack, but Rutherford's in one-on-one. He forces a brilliant save in behind, and he's out for another Torquay corner. Can Singi put this game to bed? He looks like winning every header in the box, so hopefully he'll do the same today. This time it's McDonald up, but he loses out, and the highlight ends with 2 minutes left. We're going to go and make some tactical tweaks. Let's go to our tactics screen as Barca are 4 up in their game now. We're going to make some changes at fullback, go into defensive duties, that's instead of the support ones, just to give us a bit more solidity. Kante's going to switch to a deep line playmaker, a role he prefers anyway, and we're going to leave Raphael as he is. We're not going to worry about that one too much. We're going to time waste all the time and be more disciplined. You know how we play by now. We're going to play for set pieces as we've been dangerous from them, and we'll slow the pace down when the keeper gets it. We'll hold our shape in possession, no need to throw it forward on the counter-attack, and we're not going to prevent short goalkeeper distribution as we drop our standard line of engagement. That'll go to a lower one for the attacking players, just to make us a bit more compact. A minute plus stoppage time to go. Can we hold on for another famous away victory? We're back with a Rutherford free kick on the left, into McDonald who heads, and he's hit the post as well now. How many times has the woodwork been hit in this match? 3 it looks like now. Ballerini with the ball out wide again, as we try and desperately clear it. Inter with a throw on the left hand side, and a left back tries to deliver. We're defending valiantly and blocking them out for throw-ins, but it's another chance in a dangerous position. The left back into the winger, and it's been headed away again. Bilbao tries to cross, is deflecting all over the place, lapping with a risky challenge on Brock, but Rutherford does brilliantly to hold it up, and he wins a free kick on halfway after a really desperate clearance. And Singi plays it along the back as we've dropped to a cautious mentality now. Just 15 seconds left for Kozul, who wins a throw over on the left hand side. Surely that'll be it once we take it. Moraes with a long one into the box. It's a terrible throw, but it isn't cleared away as the full time whistle goes. We made it harder for ourselves than needed by missing a penalty in the 66th minute. minute, but 2 goals from Rutherford or Kozol, one of which was cancelled out by Zanoli, a thunderous strike by the home winger, but in the end we held on for the win. I'm just checking to see Zanoli's ratings. He looks a pretty decent player, but certainly not Torquay United standard, and maybe that's a sign of how far we've come. We're looking on paper at Inter Milan and thinking we're probably a better side. 14 shots on target away from home, a masterclass in the Champions League, a very different type of performance to Barca. I'm sure you can see that from the 2 games, but this one we didn't have to hold on as much and we really dominated an away match. So a fantastic 2 performances in Europe on the road, Austria Vienna to come, but we've already got through to the last 16 now. We've just got to go on and win the group. The lads have all gained confidence from a really strong performance, and it very quickly ends that poor morale after 2 defeats in 2 other competitions. Barcelona added a 5th late on in their match, Di Benedetto getting a goal there, but in this one we got the victory, and that's all that matters at this point. We get through to the last 16, which is remarkable after 4 matches, particularly considering we've played Inter twice and Barcelona at the Nou Camp. We edge out the opponents in a close encounter, maybe in terms of possession, but we had double the amount of chances there. I'm not a big fan of that media report, but let's go and have a look at the competition screen, just to show you that we have now got through, but we haven't won the group as Barcelona are on 7, so we'll need at least 1 more for that. That's if we get a result against Barca, which means we've got a better head-to-head record. But winning against Austria Vienna, who have turned out to be the whipping boys of the group, would be enough in the 5th game to ensure we finish in 1st place. But what it does largely mean in the meantime is that we can get back to focusing on the league, obviously until the FA Cup comes round in January and then the Champions League knockouts in February. But let's go and have a look at the schedule just to see the games we've got coming up. There's a friendly run of 3 in the league now, a home to Middlesbrough, then away to Burnley and Fulham, where we really should be winning them all. We've then got a tough one at home to Man United, followed by 4 more that we should be getting victories in. That's Bournemouth, Wolves, Leicester and Watford, all games that on paper we should be getting a victory if we want to be a top 4 side this season. So it's pretty clear out of the next month and a half which one the standout fixture's going to be. Manchester United on the 9th of December, our final one of the calendar year on camera, and then we'll come back late on in January to show you one of those Chelsea or Man City games, as well as the end of the January transfer window. That's of course unless we get a massive FA Cup tie, which for that to happen would obviously require a very unlucky draw. But if you did enjoy this episode and that fantastic away European performance, the second one in succession on camera, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the display. A very different style of performance to the Barca one, but of course just as effective. Not quite as defensive, we were largely on top and managed to create a number of good chances. Of course the United one next time round is the last video before the transfer window, so let me know if you think we need to improve anywhere. Andrade's obviously back in form up front, but maybe on the wings we're a little bit weaker. The backup player's doing well in this game though, so I guess we can't argue with those positions too much. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from this Torquay United story. We're in the 3rd week of our new schedule, with episodes every Sunday to Thursday at 4:30. Then on our previous Saturday head coach slot, over the next 5 or 6 weeks, we'll have different videos about FM20, reactions to announcements of features, and of course our plans for the game, an introduction to our long-term series, and a description of some of our challenges. There's also 3 episodes a week from my Cricket 19 career. That's every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday at midday. We've just got to county level now and we're starting to make a bit of an impact. So if you haven't checked that one out, then please do go over and give it a try. I really do appreciate the support with the series and hope you continue to enjoy their content. And then finally our Snooker 19 career continues. That's every Friday at 4:30. We're in the last event of the series now, the season-ending World Championships. It's the biggest one and we've got action from every round as we try and go on a run to the final. Hopefully the series won't end too soon, as that means we will have failed in our final event, so fingers crossed we've got a few more weeks to go yet as we go on a lengthy run in that competition. But a massive thanks for watching this one as always, and your continued support with the series. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time for another big episode as we get back to Premier League action. Can we get close to retaining our league title, or at least make sure we stay in the top 4?